Hi, everyone, and welcome to our session. My name is Kath Jaramita, and I'm looking forward to sharing a few tips and tools about infusing early career exploration into your K-5 instruction. Before we dive into the content, I'd like you to take a moment to consider how early career exploration can make a meaningful difference for your students. We'll be exploring this a little later on in the session, so I encourage you to pause this recording and give yourself some time to jot down a few thoughts. For those of you who haven't met me or listened to one of my recorded webinars, my name is Kath Jaramita. I want to be upfront and share that I'm not a classroom teacher. My background is in STEM, and I've been a practicing engineer for over 25 years. That said, I've spent much of my career working within the innovation and entrepreneurship ecosystem. And throughout that time, I've had the privilege of collaborating with teachers and students, both formally and informally, in many different ways. From the very beginning, Curiosity Space content has been developed with teachers and students, not just for them. Their feedback has guided us in shaping how we bring the concepts of innovation, entrepreneurship, and STEM into the elementary classroom in both meaningful and practical ways. I'd also like to take a moment to acknowledge a few teachers who have worked extensively with our materials. They, along with their students, have provided multiple rounds of valuable feedback that have helped us refine and strengthen our approach. As we begin, I think it is important to take a quick moment to explain why we believe that innovation is such a powerful tool, especially at the elementary level. I realize this might be a bit repetitive for those who have attended previous workshops, but it is so fundamental to how we think about innovation-based instruction, I think it is worth repeating. So why is innovation so powerful? We've been doing this for over a decade, visiting hundreds of classrooms and working with thousands of students. And here's what we've learned. Student ideas are at the core of who they are. Their ideas reflect the people they're becoming and the things that matter most to them. Innovation and entrepreneurship have a unique way of democratizing and personalizing the learning experience. They naturally center and validate each individual's ideas and interests. And when the ideas and interests being centered belong to students, it sends a powerful message. Your ideas matter, your interests matter, you matter. And it works. When students are given the space and tools to innovate, they often gain a deeper sense of ownership and confidence in their thinking. That confidence, especially in science and STEM, can translate into stronger engagement and higher achievement. Now let's talk about careers. Early career exploration is a bit of a catchphrase or hot topic right now, but it's also really nebulous and it can feel like just another requirement to an already heavy elementary workload. So today our objectives are threefold. First, define early career exploration at the elementary level in terms of values and goals. Note, I'm going to discuss the standards a bit, but I want you to think of the standards as a tool to help you limit scope and expectations versus an added requirement. Second, we're going to explore examples of using biographical vignettes of STEM entrepreneurs as a simple way to integrate early career exploration into your teaching. This is generally interactive, so please get ready to work a bit, even though this is a recorded session. Finally, I'm going to introduce a simple, ready-to-use tool for bringing the stories of STEM entrepreneurs into your classroom, the STEMtastic career cards. And yes, there is a free version of this cards, because I know the last thing you need is an added expense. In a live session, this is usually where I'd invite participants to share some of their ideas about how early career exploration could make a difference for their students. Since this is a recorded version, I'll instead invite you to take a quick pause, think back to your own ideas, and then take a moment to read through some of the examples and reflections shared by past participants. So it's probably not surprising to hear that New York State has standards around K-12 career exploration and development. However, it might be surprising to think that they can be helpful versus just another added requirement. I'm being serious. Let's take a few minutes to look at them. The standards at the elementary level are broken into three categories: career development, integrated learning, and universal foundation skills. Those are pretty big buckets, so let's take a closer look at what that can mean for us. First, we have career development. This, at the highest level, is simply exploring careers and connecting personal interests to the world of possibilities. Second, we have integrated learning. This involves students making connections between what they are learning and how it can be used in the workplace or other settings. Lastly, we have universal foundational skills. Skills such as critical thinking, problem solving, communication, conflict resolution. This standard makes connections between those skills and the workplace. So enough just talking, let's explore. Biographical vignettes are a great way to infuse early career exploration into your classroom. For the next portion of this session, I'd like to read through a couple of entrepreneur vignettes and then talk through some reflection prompts that could be used to spark a discussion in your classroom. Let's meet Andrea and Anna, the co-founders of Luminade. The challenge. Anna and Andrea were architecture students in New York City in 2010 when they heard about a massive earthquake in Haiti. They wondered what they could do to help the people affected and the rescuers. In addition to the need for food, water, and shelter, they heard about increasingly dangerous night conditions caused by the dark and the lack of reliable sources of electricity. This inspired them to turn their attention to light. The solution. The two students turned innovators and entrepreneurs, designed an inflatable solar-powered lantern. In 2015, they pitched their product on Shark Tank and received offers from all 5 investors. This has helped them get their lantern to people in more than 100 countries. Anna's and Andrea's invention is inexpensive and packs flat to make shipping thousands of lights to areas affected by natural disasters and other emergencies easy. The light battery can be recharged using a small solar panel on the top of their lantern. There is also a built-in USB port to recharge your cell phone or mobile device. Luminade's lantern replaces reliance on candles or kerosene lamps, which can cause fires and contribute to unhealthy indoor air quality, and can't charge their devices. Luminade can also help those who enjoy hiking and camping in the outdoors and remote areas. Let's take some time to think about some discussions we could have with our classrooms about Andrea and Anna that would also support some of the New York career exploration standards. As we go through this, feel free to pause the recording as you think about the question in conjunction with the information provided in the vignette. Question 1. How have Anna and Andrea turned a personal interest into a career? Both Andrea and Anna were interested in helping people during an emergency. They turned that interest into understanding a specific need people had around the availability of safe light and then turned that into a career. Does anyone have an interest that they would like to explore turning into a job or a career? What science skills do you think helped Andrea and Anna when they were creating their product? Some science skills that were used include circuits and structure function relationships. Can anyone highlight the connection between either of those skills in the Luminade product? What are some specific needs that inspired the creation of Luminade? Can you connect a specific need to a specific feature of the product? A couple of needs could be lack of reliable electricity, darkness at night, and easy to ship to remote locations. The lack of reliable electricity was addressed by the solar panel that can charge the battery for the light. The collapsible nature of the product makes it easier to ship. A question to students could be, can you think of some bigger community needs connected to your interests? Let's try this again with a second example. Meet Stacy Flynn, the co-founder of Evernew. About Stacy. As a kid, Stacy didn't think she was good at science. She went to college to study fashion and discovered this wasn't true. By doing hands-on experiments, Stacy realized that she learned differently than her friends and that she was good at science. After college, she worked with fabric and textiles and learned how much water and energy it took to make every piece of new clothing. Important science. There are two ways to recycle clothing and other fabrics: mechanical and chemical. With mechanical recycling, the clothing is used in products like cushion or insulation, but not to make new clothes. Chemical recycling is needed to make new fabric from old clothes. Most of the chemical recycling methods work for nylon or polyester clothes, but not with cotton clothes. Game-changing idea. Stacy and her business partner, Christopher Stanev, wanted to recycle cotton into fabric. They discovered that the process used to recycle wood and paper also worked for cotton. In 2014, they founded Evernew, a company that recycles cotton waste into thread for new fabric and clothing. This process uses less water and energy and creates less waste. This time, I'd like you to come up with questions. You can either pause this recording or cycle back to the story to come up with some questions in these three categories. Please take a minute to think about which ELA standards you also addressed during this activity. Which science standards? For ELA, there are standards associated with reading informational text. Standards 1 through 3, which address key ideas and details, and also Standard 8, which addresses integration of knowledge. Additionally, there are a number of speaking and listening standards around comprehension and collaboration, depending on the extent of the discussion. General science standards addressed by these vignettes are connected to the nature of science, specifically science being a human endeavor, as well as the connections between engineering and technology and the application of science, the interdependence of science, engineering, and technology, and the influence of engineering, technology, and science on society and the natural world. For specific content standards, Luminade obviously addresses circuits and light, as well as renewable resources and energy. Evernew focuses on sustainability, standards in kindergarten around the human impact on land, and also in grade 5. Now we know it's not easy to find all these innovator profiles. So, similar to the invention prompts, we've compiled a series of STEMtastic career cards. The STEMtastic career cards are a series of entrepreneur and innovator vignettes. We currently have about 30 of them, but we are adding to them regularly. Each vignette discusses the person, some of their interests, and their invention or business. There is a strong focus on highlighting the connection between personal interests, education, career, and community. The cards are provided at 2 reading levels, so you can mix and match based on the needs and capabilities of your students. There's the physical version, which is available for purchase, as well as a digital version, which is free and available on our web-based Curiosity Space app. The Curiosity Space app, which houses a repository of innovation prompts, also contains an inventor's gallery, and it's here where you can find a link to the digital STEMtastic career cards. With that, it brings us to the end of our session. As a wrap-up activity, I'd like you to pause this video and complete a 3-2-1 reflection. What are 3 things you learned or rediscovered during this session? What are 2 things you're still thinking about? And what is 1 thing you will commit to trying in your classroom? And that brings us to the end of our session. I'd like to thank CASDA again for their help and support in organizing this webinar series, and you for your attention and participation today. Of course, if you have any questions about innovation, entrepreneurship, or biographical vignettes, please don't hesitate to reach out. Until then, happy inventing.